Hello Xyy'nai of planet Earth, this is Xyy'nai. Last episode we talked about Xyy'nai powers, about seeing yourself as a character in an RPG game. So another way you can look at yourself though that can be very useful is as a ship. And you can use either one, thinking of yourself as a superhero character or a magical creature or a bioship. Those are all very useful. This episode is going to be on the human design for Xyy'nai, and the ship metaphor might be particularly useful because of the heavier technical aspects here in the human design. So there's some synergy there, but use whatever metaphor you need to learn the material and discover how magical and incredible you are as a Xyy'nai Mojo. We start off with the concept of momentum and modulation. Momentum is the gaining of energy and modulation is the curbing of energy. So all mojos have 4 conscious powers, and the top two powers will give them momentum, and the other 2 conscious powers in the psyche, the 3rd and 4th ranked, will modulate them or reduce their energy, and that acts as a balancing system for the psyche. That is the basic binary flow that makes the ship do what it does, and this is based on being a directive or adaptive, left brain or right brain. Directive mojos get momentum on the left and will modulate on the right, and adaptive mojos will gain energy on the right and modulate on the left. The Xyy'nai mojo is a directive mojo because your top 2 powers are the powers of Xy and Nai, and those are directive powers, so they're left brain powers. So this means that modulation for the Xyy'nai, for yourself, is going to be on the right side with your powers of V and Xy, which will modulate or reduce the energy for you. All mojos are either objective or subjective, meaning that the powers on the front or the powers in the back of your psyche are weighted more heavily. For the Xyy'nai, your objective powers, the powers of Xy and V, those will be heavier, more weighted than your subjective powers of Nai and of Xy. So overall, you are directive mojos. Your directive powers are weighted more heavily on the left with both your left powers, but then there's a sub-layer to that, which is that your powers will be more weighted towards the front. They are objective. All humans have perception or information gathering powers located in the perception corridor, and the discernment or decision making powers located in the discernment corridor. For the Xyy'nai, your first power is the power of Xy, and it's a discernment power, it's a decision making power. Xy is a values-based decision-making power based on values-based code of conduct, and since it's your first power, this means that you're a lead discerner. So lead discerner because your first power, the power of Xy, is a discernment power. So within this corridor here, the discernment corridor, there are 2 channels. There's the values-based channel and the logic-based channel. The values-based channel is the channel that is concerned with emotive or humanistic concerns and interests, and that's the kind of power that Xy, your first or top power, is. So it's a values-based power, it's a Xyz power, and therefore the Xyy'nai is a values-based mojo. In the secondary corridor for the Xyy'nai, which is the perception corridor here, your top power there is going to be the power of Nai. So within the perception corridor there are again 2 channels. There's the interpretive channel, which is based on pattern-based information, and there's the literal channel, which is based on detailed information. The Xyy'nai with the second power of Nai here, that's an interpretive power. It's a pattern-based speculative power. It's processing a kind of pattern-based information, so the Xyy'nai are an interpretive mojo. Because Xyy'nai have Xy and Nai as their 2 top powers, the way this relates to the rest of the psyche, this will give the Xyy'nai energy fields that are directive, objective, lead discernment, values-based, and interpretive. Another type of math that's layered on with these other maths to make up this beautiful human design is the fact that there are 4 considerations that you need to be able to address with just your momentum powers, your first two top powers, and these are the perception or gaining of information, and discernment, making decisions, and also subjectivity or a way to deal with the internal world, and objectivity, a way of dealing with the external world. As a Xyy'nai, your power of Xy takes care of two considerations, takes care of the consideration of discernment or making decisions based on certain criteria, and the consideration of objectivity or something that deals with the external world. Next, your power of Nai takes care of the other two considerations, which are the considerations of gaining information and also the consideration of subjectivity or something that deals with the internal world. So between your first two top powers of Xy and Nai, you have all four considerations addressed. The Xyy'nai have two compound relationships which are based on the left and the right. You have the Xy over Nai compound, and that's a unique kind of compound. We mentioned earlier in the powers of the Xyy'nai that the fact that it's a compound makes each of the individual powers in the compound unique to the Xyy'nai mojo. So over on their other sides, that's the modulation side for the Xyy'nai. The compound there is the V with the Xy, and that's again is a unique compound, unique to the Xyy'nai, both because the V and Xy that they have, and the fact that that compound of V and Xy is underneath the main compound of Xy and Nai, so it's unique and awesome. Next, we talked about the powers and what character classes they might be. Up here you have the fighter or pilot character class. Back here you have the wizard or hunter character class. Up here you have the gatherer or rogue class. And back here you have the tower or cleric class. Now we're going to put it into more technical terms that go along with that ship metaphor we were talking about. So here, the priority that you have here is the fighter or the pilot class, and in technical terms you can think of this as the dynamics mover. It's like the steering of the ship, and for you as the Xyy'nai, you use your power of Xy, so you use a values-based power to do your steering and affect and move those social dynamics. And next for the Xyy'nai, we have the priority back here, which is the wizard or hunter character class, and the priority is based on worldview map. So you can think of this as the map in your car, like your GPS system, the destination you're going to, your itinerary. So you need to have this as well. And for you as the Xyy'nai, you use the power of Nai, which is an interpretive, pattern-based way of plotting your course through life with your ship. Your third priority is the priority of stimulus register, going along with the character of being a gatherer or rogue. So in technical terms, this is the gathering of information that's coming from the outer environment, and so we call this the stimulus register priority. So if you think of it in terms of the ship metaphor we've been talking about, these would be your immediate sensors, like either looking at your console to see what's coming from the outside, or looking out through your window to see what's out there. Basically your actual visual recognition outside of your windows or right there in your console, and that's going to be the stimulus register. And for the Xyy'nai, you have the power of V to address that priority. So it's a visceral, five senses, concrete way of pulling information from the environment. So you have those five senses stimulus that you're registering in your psyche, and that's your third priority. And as a Xyy'nai, your fourth ranked priority is the priority here of compass bearings, and for you, you will be using the power of Xy to accomplish that. So that's a logic-based compass bearings. So it's a way of maintaining equilibrium, keeping things at perfection in this case with the power of Xy. So you have all those powers that we talked about with Xy of keeping yourself in an unflappable state, doing those optimizing and calibrating abilities, and using your situational logic, so personal tactics. So those are things that would go with this this priority with the power that you have in this priority of compass bearings, which are 4th ranked. And in the terms of the ship metaphor, you can think of this as the suspension system of the ship, the suspension system for you as a Xyy'nai. Now these priorities can't be of the same rank, because if they were, there would actually be a logjam within your psyche. So the various character classes or ship class priorities need to be ranked. So as a Xyy'nai, your top priority is going to be that dynamics mover here, the fighter pilot class, the steering of your ship. And then your second priority is going to be the worldview map, your itinerary, your GPS system where you're headed, which is also the wizard hunter character class. Then you'll have up here you'll have the 3rd ranked, which is the stimulus register, or the immediate sensors that you get from your ship looking outside of the window or on the console, and those are your rogue or gatherer character class. And then your 4th ranked priority is going to be the compass bearings, which you can think of again as your tower cleric character class, or your suspension system of your ship. We'll close out by revisiting the 4 powers you know already, but giving them some tech specs. So we start off with Xy here. Xy is directive, objective, values-based discernment, and it is the 1st ranked or source power for the Xyy'nai. It addresses the priority of dynamics mover for the Xyy'nai, and it's going to be major momentum for you. The power of Nai is a directive, subjective, interpretive perception, and it is the tandem or 2nd ranked power for the Xyy'nai. It's going to address the priority of worldview map, and it's going to be minor momentum for you as a Xyy'nai. Next we have the power of V, and V is an adaptive, objective, literal perception, and it is the offside or 3rd ranked power for the Xyy'nai, and addresses the priority of stimulus register, and it will be the minor modulation for the Xyy'nai. And finally you have the power of Xy, and Xy is an adaptive, subjective, logic-based discernment, and it is the polar or 4th ranked power for Xyy'nai. It addresses the priority of compass bearings, and it will be the major modulation for the Xyy'nai mojo. So now you know about yourself as an alien, cool, magic creature RPG character, and also as a bioship of the most cutting-edge technology that natural law has. So keep learning about yourself, keep watching these episodes, and as always, know yourself, grow yourself, save the world, and watching these episodes and learning everything in them is the way to do it.